All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody, to the Inordinate Refraction After Party. And so far with us, we have Beelzebub, and we've got Frustrated Atheist, and we've got Inordinate Refraction herself here, and we've got Stephen Bauman, and the Bible Belt Atheist are with me so far. I don't expect too many people to be jumping in because of all the other shows that are going on. I was hanging with Ocean for a little bit while I was out having a cigarette in that new modern day debate fucking thing that's got the wackos in there chatting right now. That Andrew Strapolopoulos, whatever the fuck his name is, and Master, and Master Apologist are talking to some other people right there. And I'm like, Ocean, what the fuck are you doing watching this shit? Are you glutton for punishment? He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. So,
well, part of it is the fact that Ocean's has one condition in order to debate Master Apologist again, and the one condition is that he meets all of his debates that he already has scheduled, and then he will start talking about possibly doing another debate with him, or doing a debate with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Callan, who's on Twitter, who's another polytheist. She also said that if he meets 4 debates, if he doesn't run and doesn't delete his Twitter after 4 debates, she'll also debate him.
Interesting. Do you think it'll happen, or what do you think?
So far, I can't make any judgments, only because he's only been now shown up for 1 so far. We'll see. I've got a debate with him. I have to set up with James from Modern Day Debate, and I've got so I'm probably going to be like the 2nd or 3rd one that he does since he's been back.
See, is it just me? Oh, go ahead, Neil. Sorry,
I was just going to say I've been hearing that a lot of people aren't really impressed with this Modern Day Debate guy.
Well, sorry, that was the window to the truck. Well, a lot of what it is the fact that he what he does is the debating stuff he's okay at as far as the moderating part goes, but when he gets on Twitter, for the most part, he plays this humble, trying to cross, the aisle type of guy until people start teasing him a bit or, throwing some shade at him, then he does it right back. And what it is that sometimes they get I have seen atheists jump after him. Oh, go ahead. What are you saying, BB?
Okay. Wait, BB or B Mills?
B Mills.
BB.
Oh, okay.
Or whoever was trying to interject.
Okay. like the interjection I have, I can't remember the dude's name, but apparently at some point he told Modern Day Debates on Twitter that he was like a nobody in the community, like a small voice about probably my size, a few hundred followers. And, Modern Day Debates was like, well, you've already told me you're a nobody, so why do I listen to you?
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael P. I can't remember his last name. But like from what I've seen of his behavior on Twitter, he's like a soggy bag of dick tips. He's just absolutely letting it all hang out. Sure, he can be great on YouTube. I wouldn't know. I've only seen a couple of debates on his channel. But as far as his Twitter goes, man, I think he's told us exactly who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so I have a little trouble trusting.
Well, my thing is so with that part, I don't know the full, complete, and utter context of it.
Nor do I,
so
to be frank.
Yeah, so I can't just, go off of just that one instance. So because for all I know, he could be joking. He could be just throwing shade because dude's been harassing him. Who knows?
Yeah, that's fair. So I should and will amend what I said here. From what I've seen, he's showing what may be his true colors.
Well, and a lot of people have said that, especially since we can only judge a tweet by the singular tweet. I mean, if you don't see, no one should be expected to go onto somebody's Twitter account and scrub through all threads that this person's in order to get a full context of a thing.
Dude, I couldn't get a full context of myself, and I avoid Twitter fights like the fucking plague.
Oh, I revel in them.
Yeah, I don't
that's
get
one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons. Oh, go ahead. Twitter's what?
I mean, you can't really use it for a solid opinion about anyone. You're not going to go through all their stuff.
No.
And your own little characters. So
I judge everybody on Twitter by the interactions I have with them right then and there, which I love getting into to fights on Twitter, as Inordinate Refraction knows. Inordinate Refraction has there's some tweets that I've tweeted that like a day ago, and all of a sudden I got a notification on Twitter, and Inordinate Refraction has managed to come across her feed, and she's sitting there like she's liked it before.
So you've seen some of his battles there, Inordinate Refraction?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You've seen some of Russ's battles on YouTube? Or, I mean, on Twitter?
Oh, of course. That's like one of my prime sources of sarcasm in a day. It's just that since I'm on Twitter so not frequently, so scarcely, it takes a little while for it to come across my feed, but it's always immensely enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, they usually are.
And here I was going to say that sarcasm doesn't translate. I can speak, I promise. Sarcasm doesn't translate well over
drink
text.
more.
Oh, you see, the thing is with me, is my sarcasm is so deeply ingrained in me that I can ooze it out into the tweet.
I mean, dude, I speak pure sarcasm like half of the time.
It's true.
Hey, fuck.
It's one of the reasons we love you, man.
Yeah, like, Neil, how much of your interview of me was me being a sarcastic fuck?
Like 85% or better?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a defense mechanism that atheists like us have, but man, we are so fucking sarcastic. But to our credit,
look what we deal with. Dude.
Social scientists have found that sarcasm can be an indicator of intelligence. So we got that going.
Yeah.
Hey, David. What the hell, Russ? Mute your fucking.
No, that's not me. That's David.
That's David. I think he's at a grocery store. I'm hearing like scanning beeps and children, so I think grocery store.
Yeah.
Just drop
it. So I mean, a couple of the ones that I've gotten into so far, here recently at least, I've been going back and forth with one because it keeps just popping up in my feed, in my notifications of my Twitter troll. Because I have one guy who it doesn't matter. I can be commenting on someone's tweet. I can make my own tweet. Every now and then he pops up and throws a non sequitur in the whole entire complete and utter works. And if you haven't figured out who it is, it's Doge.
Oh,
I don't know the rest of his name, but Doge. On my question where I ask which definition of evidence is better, he comes on there and throws this non sequitur of Hitler invented atheism.
Yes, Hitler.
Yeah,
Hitler totally invented atheism because Christians weren't called atheists in the Roman Empire before atheism was accepted as the religion of the Roman Empire. But please,
not just that. It's not just Christians. It's the fact that anybody who did not have the Yahweh belief that was strictly Jewish would have been classified as atheist.
Yeah.
So that means pagans would have been classified as atheists, even though Judaism is how can I word this? It's a newer branch of the old Jewish polytheism.
See, this is not the first time I've heard of Jews being not like modern Jews, but Judaism at one point being polytheistic.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm curious about that.
It was before it was technically Judaism.
Yeah.
And like
so,
the
and you
cult
can
of Yahwist took over or something like that?
Yes. So you can actually see this in the Old Testament. Yeah, we can hear you. You're very, very quiet.
He talks about a pantheon of gods in the Old.
Yeah, I mean, hell.
They mentioned Baal for Christ's sake.
Well, hold on, Steve's trying to talk.
Israel. Oh, sorry, quick, get out of the way. I just want to explain why it's called Israel, not Israel Yahweh.
Yeah.
Israel.
Well, I mean, Israel means to strive with God, right?
Yeah,
Israel.
You used to be Jewish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Israel basically means to strive with God, right?
Yes, but the thing is, you have
Yahweh
to think.
Wasn't the original God.
No, El was.
It was
El. Israel means one with God.
Yeah.
That's a totally new meaning that I've heard.
So anyway, so you can see this all throughout the Old Testament. The fact that Yahweh sits there and says, let us create them in our image. There's another passage in Psalms where he lends credence to other deities. Hell, even the first commandment is, I am the Lord thy God, you shall have no other gods before me. Not you. There are no other gods, but you shall have no other gods before me.
That's right.
So this is a cult of Yahwehists who then eventually came in and said, oh, no, Yahweh is the only God. And so it was just, that's how this monotheistic religion came out of polytheistic religion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, chances are it's still technically polytheism because it's an admission that other gods exist. It's just this is the one we worship.
Well, yeah, you talk to Jews though, Bob, and they're going to tell you that there's only one God, right? I mean, originally when Judaism first got going, they would talk about a pantheon of them, but Yahweh, before he was actually named Yahweh, it was El, and he was the one. He was like the king of all the gods, and he was the one true God, and all the other ones were like subordinates. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, Judaism was sort of birthed out of that idea with El, who later became Adonai, which we also know as Yahweh, became the Father God, the leader, the one God that everyone should worship and forget about all the other ones.
Yeah, so within the Canaanite religion, you have El as Father. You have Yahweh. You also have Baal, who were brothers. Then you had all these other deities within the pantheon, and it was a very, very what's the word? It's very interesting.
Yep.
pantheon of gods.
I mean, it was literally on the teetering from Zoroastrianism too, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have Yahweh, who had, of course, because within pantheist or polytheism, you believe in all the gods. However,
polytheism.
Yeah. Why don't you shut it, Neil? Okay. Okay. Sir, I'm gonna need you to calm down, sir.
Drinking my beer now.
But so within polytheism, you have a belief in multiple gods. However, you do have what's known as main gods. So, for instance, you could be you believe in all the gods. However, your specific tribe could be Elmans, which it would be people who follow under El. Then you'll have your Yahwehman, who would be people who follow under Yahweh. And that's just because that's their main deity. They believe in all of them, but Yahweh would be the one that they specifically chose.
I like how you said that, the Yahwehman.
Yes, the Yahwehman.
The Yahwehman.
Like the highwayman.
Yeah.
I was a Yahwehman.
There was a video on YouTube
the
that I was pointed to that I wish I'd paid attention to. But unfortunately, I was in kind of a state of mind where, any video that was 20 minutes or longer was like too long, didn't read. But I stuck around for like 5 minutes of this video, and this person went as far back as the earliest of the Jews were polytheists and worshipped three gods. There would be Baal, Yahweh, and a third female goddess I can't remember the name of.
Probably
who would have been like the mother of all creation.
Oh no, that's Els. No, that's Els. Oh, if it's going to be in the same pantheon, it's probably going to be El's wife, which I forget her name. It's like,
yeah, and of course, about here is where we're going to all be called sexist for forgetting the female god's name.
It's funny because I've made a video where I said her name. I said her name, and I've said Baal's wife's name, which is funny. Fun fact: there are some people who get it confused. Or no, SJ got it confused and called Baal's wife call El's wife Baal's wife, which would make Baal having sex with his mother.
Wow, that's a lot of balls.
Yeah.
But you're all forgetting the most important question here.
What's that, buddy?
What does God need with the starship?
Well, you see,
thank you, Captain Kirk.
He needs to get to the other side.
Now we round in the Star Trek connection here.
Of course, what I think we're missing most is that this is Inordinate Refraction's after party. And we've just completely fucking steamrolled over her.
What's this wee shit, bub? You're the one that's been doing all the talking.
I've done like half the talking, which is impressive for a group of like 6 to 8 people because it's been fluctuating.
I'm just gonna say this now. I'm selfish and I hog shit, so I hog the time.
Oh, yeah, that's why your avatar is the pig, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There we go.
But this is Inordinate Refraction's after party. So what do you have to say about all this? Or a new conversation? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't really mind. You guys are really entertaining, so.
I thought you were going to say something like, what the hell did I get myself?
It wouldn't be one of your anything, Neil, if your guest didn't say, "What the fuck did I get myself into?"
I would ask her who's her favorite content creator, but I already know it's me. So I'm just gonna.
Bullshit! It's me, son. Everybody loves Beelzebub.
I'm sorry. Who are you?
Oh, at least I make videos, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck that is. What is that?
What's the video?
Is that a video game?
He doesn't just hijack other people's live streams.
Look, I get on other people's live streams. I do the Twitter, and I farm out work to everybody else.
Yeah.
And you challenge that guy to a debate every couple of months.
Which guy?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's all apologies.
Any of them.
Who cares?
Those two guys.
Yeah, Andrew.
You know the ones.
Yeah. Andrew Strapalities and apologies.
Never want to do it.
Good evening / morning, by the way, Mr. Neil. I'll try not to fall asleep this time.
You can't do any worse than Gemma, who apparently fell asleep partway through Godless Iowans' Patreon live stream last night. That was funny as hell, by the way. The last thing GI's patrons heard was Gemma snoring.
That's like when I was in the stream with Dawn and I nodded off and all you could see was the top of my head and all you could hear was me.
Well,
I've fallen asleep on one live stream.
Honestly, Gemma, if you're watching this now or in the future, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't realize until the end of that live stream that it was live. I literally did not look at the top right corner of the screen where it said live once.
Well, I've fallen asleep in a couple now, and it's because you bunch of weirdos keep doing them at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. to you.
Yeah, it's not 3 a.m. here, buddy. It's evening time. It's 7:45 for me.
It's 10:45 for me.
5.
It's 2:45 yesterday
into the night for me.
Nice hoodie, Russ.
What'd you say, David?
It's 2:45 in the afternoon, and you're yesterday for me.
That's right.
Look, it's because you're on the wrong side of the earth. You're on the underside.
Hey, that's where all the good stuff happens, the underside.
That's right, and you're in the future.
Yeah, it's Back to the Future. You want to know what's going to happen, you ask me first.
Well, I keep trying to get you guys down there to give me the winning lottery numbers, but you never do.
Maybe we should live stream it.
We should probably do that. That'd be awesome. Oh, Randolph just showed up.
Holy shit, Randolph.
Tell him I said hi.
What, in chat?
Yeah, because I don't have the chat pulled up.
I don't even have it pulled up. I just have this chat pulled up.
I'm sure Randolph can hear you.
The only thing I have to pants because I keep losing weight.
Right, there's a question I asked in the chat of the other one that you didn't get to, Neil. I was very upset.
What question?
Did I? I may not have seen it, Badger.
What question was it?
It was favorite Starfleet captain.
Oh, well, there you go. Refraction, you can answer his question now. Now that you're here with him.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
If you say Jean-Luc Picard, we might have problems.
Oh no.
It's Captain Kirk.
So, I want to say Kirk, but that's only because I've only gotten through the original series so far. I'm still in the process of working through the rest.
Captain
you could have gone with the first captain we're introduced to in Star Trek Discovery, which, for better or worse, is canon. And you would have been like the perfect
Bob.
I refuse to.
That Lorca.
Bob, I'm gonna need you to just simmer down there.
Wait,
okay, I'm going to need you to eat one of those massive Texas sticks you guys are always going about.
Everything's bigger.
Yes, hey, look.
Because everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Yeah, even the assholes.
Okay, so Bob, when you say on Discovery that's canon, because they've kind of thrown some stuff in there and they're now making it canon.
I
Well, I mean, how much of Star Wars
Pike?
has been? What?
You're talking
What
about
about
Christopher
Captain
Pike?
Christopher
Well, he's
Pike's
now
a
the captain.
dude.
No, I know that, but I'm saying
In the original series, Pike is a dude, or is in the Admiralty, and also a dude.
But in Discovery, yeah. But what
in
does that
Discovery, I'm not sure where Pike is because
he's now the captain.
I haven't really
of
paid that
Discovery.
close attention. I just remember that at the beginning of the series, like the first episode or two, where there's a female captain.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. And I suck with
And
names.
all I'm saying is this
Whether
is
it's a woman or a
boring.
man, I suck with names, so don't hate me.
And all I'm saying is that this is boring. Let's change the topic.
See, I don't accept Star Trek Discovery because for the same reason I don't accept the new Disney Star Wars films.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Look, I'll admit that episode 8, Ryan Johnson just wanted to make a cool story and not something that fit into the Star Wars mythos.
Yeah, we didn't even manage that.
Better or worse, it's canon now.
Not
that's
to
just
me.
how it is.
Legends is the only true continuity. Disney is bad fan fiction.
Okay, so
The only
God
hey,
knows-
hey,
look,
hold on, Badger.
No, I'm just gonna
We
say
have to-
if you get into an hour-long discussion of just this. Let's
Oh,
go back
There's
to
one on my
Inordinate Refractions.
All I'm going to say
Go
about
back
that.
to Inordinate Refractions.
I have something to say, so shut it.
Oh, you Texan
So-
bitch. We're going to go at it.
Where are you from again?
Which one?
Ohio. I'm from a place where we can read.
Oh no, you're from a place. You're from a place that all they know is fucking cheese.
Corn, bitch.
Oh,
You're thinking Wisconsin.
no one even remembers because they don't give a shit about Ohio.
Ohio decides every election, fucker. But we're getting back to Inordinate Refraction.
We still don't.
We're
We still
getting
don't give a
back to
shit.
Inordinate Refraction.
Oh, okay. So you are to blame for Trump.
All
Got
right,
it.
my ears are fucking.
I am not to blame for Trump.
Oh no, Ohio
to blame
is.
for Trump.
Yes,
My
and you're
state is to
in your
blame.
state.
I am not.
And you're in your state. So guess what? You're part of the problem.
I am not the part of the problem. I voted the other way.
Order in the court.
But Badger, the only thing I was going to say was the fact that you have to admit that Rogue One was still a decent film.
I will.
Even though
I will say out of the new ones, Rogue One is the only one I accept.
Yeah, and the funny thing is it's not an actual Star Wars.
I like Solo.
You know why?
It's not an episode. It's the story.
That's exactly why.
That's how they get segregated out. Okay, the episodes are
looking forward
episodes
to-
and the stories are stories.
Now, the
But
episodes
this
are
is
not
once
canon
again
because they don't
Inordinate
fit with Legends.
Refractions after party. So let's get back to her. Jesus,
Inordinate
am I the only
Refraction is
person
very
that cares about the person who this after party belongs to? Neil, what's going on here?
I actually have a question. I have a question for her too, if I can throw one in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
outstanding.
absolutely.
How do you handle going to school in the position you're now in as a non-believer?
Yeah, the Secular Student Alliance is definitely my biggest source of catharsis. It's great because the few atheists that are here just kind of continuously band together and lean on one another. So I guess that's how I get through it.
Yeah, you're at
That's actually
you're at
good.
Baylor
You have
too,
some
aren't
other
you?
ones there.
Oh yes, rest in peace.
Jeez, it's
Yeah,
good that
you're-
you got that support then.
Yeah, she's at Baylor. Baylor is
Kind of Christian.
Baylor is very, very Christian.
Jerusalem on
I
the
know,
process.
I think the only other college that might be even more Christian than Baylor might be Rice.
Ooh.
That's a hard toss up between Baylor and Rice.
I think that's like it's the only other Christian university that Baylor respects too, because I know that like our biggest thing is we constantly shit on TCU because they're not Christian enough for us.
TCU can suck it either way. They got a shit college football program.
Is there one called Biola?
Baylor.
Is that how's it spelled?
Baylor.
There's some guy on there on Twitter who's had a few goes at me, and he went to he's an Aussie, but he went to a university there, and it was spelled Biola.
I don't know what that is. It's not the Baylor we're talking about.
Yeah, no, definitely not Baylor.
I'll have to look it up.
Dyslexic.
Ironically, I know about them because of a college football program.
Maybe it's one that COVID invented.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I said,
not just joined us, by the way.
Oh, yes, fuck, not just in here.
Yeah, I'm one.
There is one, yeah.
Your audio is fine, dude.
There we go. I wasn't sure. Actual not your witness in it.
Biola University, a private evangelical Christian university located 16 miles from downtown LA in La Mirada, California.
Now I know where Baylor's from.
Now, both me and Inordinate Refraction are brother Texans.
Yes. I'm gonna be down there soon, dude. So
you're gonna come down this way?
I'm gonna have to come bug you.
Oh,
yes, I am.
That would be awesome.
Yeehaw.
Speaking once again of Inordinate Refraction, I'm sorry, I just interrupted you. I heard you like the first word into my sentence. Would you like to get your third sentence in? I'm an asshole, I'll admit it.
Don't make me sing the asshole song.
Thank you, Dennis Leary. Moving on to IR.
Oh, trust me, I'm in the process of trying to remember that song word for word.
Oh, it's good. It's funny.
I know the chorus. That's
I walk around this summertime saying, "How about this heat?"
Yeah.
Sometimes I park in handicapped spaces while handicapped people make handicapped faces.
And our best line of all.
Okay, Randolph, I will not have you besmirch the asshole song, okay?
I'm just your average
because he says it should be
average Joe.
He says it should be
Trump. Too good to be Donald Trump's son.
I'm just an average Joe.
I enjoy the asshole song. It can't be Trump's song.
House.
You can have some of the songs from Three Doors Down.
I like.
What about
Three Doors Down sucks. Trump can have them.
I like about 3 of their songs.
But sometimes.
Okay, Russ,
sometimes I park in handicapped spaces.
No, not the part I was trying to sing. I was like, sometimes ain't enough to keep a man like me interested. Oh no way. I have to have fun at someone else's expense.
What do you got it typing through there now, Russ, or what?
Do what?
Or did you pull up the lyrics?
No, I'm singing this all off of memory.
Oh, okay.
It's clearly on your playlist then.
Yeah.
Do what?
I'm still kind of awake.
No, every now and then I'll look it up when I'm on my way to work, and I'll listen to it on my way to work on repeat.
It's not that good a song.
Oh, to me it is.
It's applicable to you, but
yes. Exactly. That's why I love it.
Is this my theme song?
It's equally applicable to me, but it isn't that good.
Oh, I like it. I think it's pretty good too. I mean, for what it is, I mean, musically, it's pretty good too. I like the guitar riff that they use.
The thing is that the reason why I put it on repeat is because the only place I get it off of is YouTube. And while I'm driving down 45 going 75 miles an hour, I'm not going to have my phone in my face while I'm trying to find a different song. So I just hit repeat, So that way all I have to do is hit one button and keep going.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that like shuffle through Spotify too. You can do that and they'll just play a list of shit.
Yeah, I know.
Or whatever stock app comes on your phone where you can play music without using data, or Pandora or YouTube.
I do use Pandora, but whenever I feel like I want to hear the song, that's when I put it on, and then in that case, I do whatever I can to not take my eyes off the road. So I just hit cancel on the auto.
That's a good idea.
So you're a responsible asshole.
Exactly.
Because I'm a responsible asshole. Yo.
One of my favorite parts is he says, he goes, I drive ultra slow in the ultra fast lane, while people behind me are driven insane. I'm an asshole.
Yeah. And the rant he does about like John Wayne and stuff and marching down Tiananmen Square and all that. Because we got the bombs.
We got the bombs. Okay.
Nuclear fucking weapons.
Yeah.
John, they'll get the Duke. They'll get John Wayne. He's not dead. He's just frozen. And whenever we get to, I forget what he says. He says something, and then
cure for whatever type of cancer he's got.
Do what?
The cure for whatever type of cancer he's got. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. When they get the cure, they're gonna unfreeze him, and he's gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, he's gonna be pissed. Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm trying to remember. Right, Neil, how did I get much of a word in edgewise in my after party? I genuinely don't remember.
That's just not how after parties work.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, as much as I didn't get a word in my after party, because I know for a fact in my actual interview, I talked a lot.
Yeah.
How little has Inordinate Refraction talked in her own after party?
Seems to be a common theme.
Well, Neil likes to call in all these talkative people.
Well, you're right. So we should blame Neil.
Absolutely, yeah.
So okay, I'll be your scapegoat. It's good.
That's fair. I mean, it's you used to be Jewish, and the idea of a scapegoat came from Judaism. So
I was wondering where you go.
I hate to throw the Jews under the bus, but here I
go. After all, they killed Christ, right?
They did.
Well, y'all got to think too. I've been the silent bastard from the beginning, so.
True enough.
Well, yeah, but you're also 17, bro. So
you talked.
You're a kid. In the United States, you have no legal rights yet. So.
Well, I've got some, but not as much as adults. Not as much as adults yet.
No, you will soon. Hey, two more years.
Give it like what did you say it was earlier? A month and 17 days.
Yeah, something like that. I turn 18 on March 27th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So BBA is going to be a big boy soon. Just give him a little while. He'll put on his big boy pants and
still can't drink alcohol though.
No, when he hits 19, he can come hang out with me in BC.
It's a country which has a sensible age of drinking.
Well, I was drinking in England when I was fucking 15 years old, dude.
Well, I was drinking in England when I was 14 years old.
Okay, so Randolph says he's got free speech rights. While that's totally true, Randolph, you need to bear in mind, we're giving BBA shit. We're not being serious, dude.
Yeah, I know.
You'll still remember that I am a badger and I will eat your legs.
There you go.
You're not a honey badger, though.
No. But while the bad-tempered badger does give some fucks, I mean, clearly he does. He's got a channel. Honey badger has no channel and gives no fucks.
Well, okay,
This is exactly right.
honey badgers are my crazy cousins in Africa. Occasionally I'll ring them
Don't
up.
talk about that side of the family.
Yeah, occasionally I'll ring them up for a
I'm
chat.
Occasionally I'll ring them up for a chat,
right? I'll ring them up for a chat, and they're going, "What do you want? I'm busy eating a snake."
See, here's my curiosity, right?
They're always the drunk ones at the family barbecues.
Don't hate me for being drunk right now, Neil.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about honey badgers.
But the world revolves around me, Neil. No, I'm kidding. But Neil, you're the one who's Canadian, so I'm curious about your experience. Newfies are crazy. Are Newfies the honey badgers of Canada?
Newfies aren't necessarily crazy.
What are you saying about Nadine?
We have Newfie jokes in Canada.
I've asked Nadine if she's crazy, and she has declined to answer.
Well, then she's not all that crazy, is she?
That's right. She's pleading the fifth, as he said down in the States.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, by comparison to other Canadians, are Newfies crazy? Because there is a stereotype.
So like the Tasmanians for Australians.
See,
Well,
but Australia
Newfies are
doesn't actually exist because the Earth's flat. So naturally, you,
But of course,
by extension, don't exist.
whatever I say doesn't count. I know.
Yeah.
I'm just
And
making it all
You're
up
not
to
real.
try and fool the masses.
Archer,
Yeah, you're
I have a
shilling.
question for you.
Yeah.
What is this I hear about a certain creature known as the ibis?
The ibis.
Apparently, it's a bird.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about
the
Imus in the
bin chicken?
morning, a Republican talk show host?
Nah, he's talking about the bin chicken.
Yeah, that's the one.
Did we just lose Russ? He'll be back. Yeah.
He's been
What
in
about
and out
him?
all day.
They're really aggravating. You're
Okay.
more than welcome to shorten their lives in any way possible if it wasn't illegal.
Some friends of mine were playing, found this song about birds on the internet, and they were playing it.
I know the one.
The bird is the word?
No. They were playing it to their daughter, who is about like 9 months old at the moment. Thinking that it was like a nice, friendly, child-friendly song about birds, and it was not.
Oh shit!
Is this
See,
is this the one about the bin chicken, like the
Yeah.
Aussie song?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should link it. That's pretty funny, that one.
see, this actually reminds me of a commercial. Like, this was like the very beginnings of YouTube, and a buddy of mine found this commercial from the Netherlands, and it's about free classes to learn the English language.
Oh no.
And this mom and dad get into the car with their 3 very young children.
Oh, I love this one.
I think.
And
Yeah.
the song starts out with the words, "I want to fuck you in the ass." And,
What?
Yeah,
I'm
I know the one.
serious.
There's
was
something
on
way to the
YouTube?
music.
Yeah, in the early days before YouTube became a bunch of fucking hard-ons about anything funny.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I see what. Nice. I see what you're saying
Oh.
about us.
What?
Have you
I'm
seen
talking
that?
about YouTube,
Hey.
not imaginary islands
No.
in the Pacific
Hey,
Ocean.
there's always that Japanese one where it's trying to teach people phrases to speak in English, and there's the 2 girls and they're dancing to a beat of a song, and the song lyrics are, "I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea." I always love that one. That it just is hilarious.
This is one of my favorite adverts that I've seen. It's Chappie, who I think is from the German Coast Guard.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And he's there listening to the radio, and the call comes through. Mayday, Mayday, we are sinking. He goes, hello, this is the German Coast Guard. Yes, Mayday, we are sinking. What are you thinking about?
There's a joke that I heard about. It was this United States carrier was out in the ocean.
Fuck the Canadian. I know this joke.
I'm gonna have to.
It's good. Oh no, please. I'm sorry, Russ. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's dead again.
Russ, stop!
Okay. Jesus.
I know where he was going. Okay, so there's this.
Well, hold on. If he comes back, we'll give him a chance to come back and tell it.
Yeah.
Well, I already know exactly the joke and the punchline, though.
Okay, so.
Russ, the big boy, he'll understand.
The world doesn't revolve around you, Bobs. God.
Oh my God, Nadja. The world doesn't revolve around you at all. Your island doesn't exist.
Hey, whoa.
Kangaroos. Fuck are they?
Nadine, hello.
Hi, Nadine. Hi, Nadine. Nadine's now joined.
Wait, where's Nadine?
Where?
The chat.
She's in the chat.
Nadine's in the chat. Okay. Okay. No, I actually like Nadine. Okay, so sorry for thinking she actually popped in the hangout.
So
Let's see how it
is. See what we have to deal with, Nadine? We got to deal with drunk Bub.
Okay. First of all, Neil, you're roughly as drunk as me.
I've had 2 beer. I'm not drunk.
Okay, so you're not as drunk as me, because I've had a 2-ounce howler and a few beers.
I think I'm going to need to get drunk if we continue with this.
Well, he
hit. All right, he's back.
All right, Russ is back. Finish your joke that I totally could have finished in the time you were gone.
Well, if you would have,
know it, but Neil's a bitch.
If you would have, it wouldn't have been no skin off my back. But so the joke goes that this U.S. carrier was out in the ocean, and they cut something on their radar that was heading for a direct collision course with them. And so they they radioed and saying, yes, it's the United States Navy. We're going to need you to change your direction by, 45 degrees, whichever port. And they say, negative, you're going to have to change your position. And he's like, I don't know if you understand this. He's like, this is the United States Navy. We have, X amount of planes on here, and we are, we're part of the United States government. Either you change your position, or you will be in serious trouble. And people radio back saying, I don't think you understand. This is a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Okay, the version I would have said was a little longer. But, yeah, that's the punchline. Thanks for stopping me, Neil. And I was in the Air Force, you dick.
About that now.
I would have loved to take a giant dump on my brother's service branch, man.
I was Army.
Can't you just fly over and drop some of your frozen poo out at the bottom?
What you have to bear in mind is that only about 4% of the United States Air Force actually flies anything. Yeah, I would have fallen under mission support because I was a cop.
Well,
so I'd have shot somebody for doing something not quite so wrong.
Just get one of the people who do fly to do it.
Just Nadine's not feeling well. Let's send Nadine some love there.
Give one of the people who does fly a bag of your poo and tell them to fly over the specific ship and drop it out.
If I'm not mistaken, aren't most of the things run by drones?
Oh, that's
something
even easier.
About bagged rum?
No, I said, aren't they drones that are being flown by somewhere else?
No, most of the aircraft off the ground in the United States Air Force are carrier planes, so C-5s, C-17s, that kind of thing.
Okay.
It's a pretty narrow group of people that are flying drones. But yes, most of those people are flying them drunk, unfortunately, which really kind of pisses me off. Because I won't touch a firearm that fires single shots at a time drunk. I won't touch one after one beer. You know, so if you guys can't tell from...
Foot off?
What's that?
You're afraid you're going to shoot your foot off or something?
No, I'm that much of a hard-on about firearm safety that I won't even touch a gun if I've had a beer.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, so anybody in the branch of the military that I served with that is willing to fly a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment remotely and potentially kill people, because let's face it, most of the drones the United States Air Force has are not for surveillance.
No.
It pisses me off.
Yeah, trust me, I'm the same way with the Army, because not for any other reason, but the fact that even stateside, if let's say you've had a few beers and you drive a Humvee, I mean, yeah, chances are you're gonna be fine, but let's just say you did that overseas. I mean, chances of you having a couple of beers and might affecting your judgment while you're behind the wheel is pretty bad, because what happens if you end up having to get away fast, but you can't make the cognitive ability to be able to understand that, hey, I need to get the fuck out of here. You're just like, what? Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way you cut it, whether it's Air Force flying a drone or Army driving a Humvee, people are potentially going to die because you're drunk. So that kind of thing actually makes me angry. So, right now, if I were a gun owner, I would not even look at my gun, let alone touch it, because this is now empty and I've had more than a few.
We couldn't tell.
And
yeah, I've got a pistol and I got a shotgun, and if I'm drinking, neither one of them are ever going to be in my hand.
Yeah, so considering that, both of us are going to be best of friends. I've actually told someone who had been drinking, if you touch your gun again, I'm going to hurt you.
With the gun.
Help.
Yeah, well, I'm a badger, so I'll still bite your legs off even if I'm drunk.
if you're going for a Monty Python reference, you got it right.
So what are the regs over there?
Because Americans will say, "I'll bite your kneecaps off."
What are the requirements over in the States with firearm storage? Just out of curiosity, because it's pretty strict over here.
Yeah, it's strict here too. Firearm storage. What are the requirements for you guys?
Nothing.
For me in Ohio, nothing.
Yeah, no, there's no requirements. It's best to have a gun safe, but you can literally have your guns out in the open and be fine.
There are stronger requirements for public nudity in Ohio, where I live, than there are firearms.
Yeah,
that's incredible. The requirements out here are really strict. You have to have a gun safe. It has to be kept in that safe the entire time, unless you're actually going to take it out and use it somewhere. Yeah, ammunition has to be stored separately. So the whole notion of the whole home protection stuff, which is so popular in the States, just doesn't work here, because you're not going to have some burglar trying to bash down your door and ask him to wait while you go and retrieve your gun and then load it.
So let me put it to you this way, right? Okay, so I worked at Walmart a little while back, and I sold guns.
Wow.
Like not the fun guns like pistols, revolvers,
mainly shotguns.
Yeah, like pump action shotguns, a couple double barrel shotguns, and single shot rifles. Okay, that's what I sold.
Wonder Lady's in the chat, so I was just saying hi. Hi, Faye.
Hey, fan.
Hello.
But
Hey,
you know, but I sold these guns, and there was a family that was in my store, and they were buying a gun, and clearly the dad, you know, was buying the gun for his son, who was like just a week under the age to buy his own firearm, and clearly it was for his birthday, but because I couldn't prove otherwise, I couldn't deny the sale.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how fucked the laws are over in this country, dude.
So how would you like to see them then? What sort of requirements would you like there to be in terms of firearm safety, and what type of firearms you can buy?
As someone who has sold firearms, I would like to see psychological backgrounds. I would like to see a more rigorous FBI and ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, background check. I would just like a real background check that doesn't involve memorization.
I'm a little bit more stricter with mine. It's funny because I love guns and I always will. Yes. Well, if you're owning a pistol, you have to have training. You can buy a shotgun, no problem. You can even buy from certain dealers. Yeah. I have, like, for instance, my I have a little 6-shooter that I have that I bought off of the person, and I didn't have to really. They did a background check, a small one that they had to get in touch with the FBI about. Other than that, nothing. And so I literally got it within the background check and everything. It took me like maybe 4 minutes.
Wow.
And it's because all they had to do is call the FBI. They give certain parts of my information. They run it through their system, and they say pretty much, yeah, he's good to go. Some people, though, because you can have someone who has the exact same name as you, and if they have a criminal record, they then have to go into the system. They have to pretty much try to figure out exactly who you are. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. I've heard of people saying that they went to go get a firearm, and it's taken them. But as far as what I would want for that, I would prefer to not only have a more extensive background check, and again, for anyone who might come across this who thinks, oh, you're just a libtard, whatever, I love guns. I will always have them as long as I can. But I seriously want stricter background checks. I also think that psych evaluations should be mandatory. And with every new gun purchase, I think that psych eval should be mandatory as well. And so I would prefer that there be laws that you have to have them in a safe of some sort, in preferably one that has a fingerprint lock, so that way you can your children can't figure out the code and get into it. But if not, then just in a place where your child could not get to it, the safe. And so that's just my stance on that.
So it sounds like you're after very much a similar situation to what we have here, because we have the storage requirements that I mentioned before. People have to sit a firearm safety course. They have to sit through a couple of lectures. They get background checks done and all those sorts of things. And most people, once they're told what you can and can't use a firearm for, never bother to actually apply for the license in the first place, because they think home protection and all that sort of thing, and it's just ruled out immediately. And we have there is no one is able to purchase semi-automatic or automatic weapons. They're illegal in the country across the board, and that happened after the Port Arthur massacre in the early 1990s. So, I mean, it seems to work, obviously, because we haven't had a single mass shooting ever since then. And to give you a good idea, like I carry a firearm for work, but I don't have a firearms license. So the minute I'm off duty, I can't have a gun on me. And I only carry it because I have to, not because I want to. And if you're even accused of domestic violence over here, for example, the first thing that happens is they do a check on you. And if you've got a firearms license, your house gets searched and all of your firearms are taken from you until your domestic violence matters are resolved. So it's much, much more strict over here. There's no such thing as being able to have an open carry or a concealed carry. No permits like that exist here. You can only use your firearms for very specific purposes.
And that sounds perfectly fair. I mean, okay, so let's look at how rules, like bringing it back to an American perspective, let's look at how firearm policy works on a military base. You have to have an extreme level of trust to just carry a firearm on a military base. So you either have to be some kind of law enforcement, you have to be some kind of special operations, or you have to be a 3 or a 4-star general to carry firearms. And at the time when I was in the Air Force, those were basically the only 3 kinds of qualifications that would allow you to carry a firearm on a military base, period, end of discussion.
Yeah. Well,
so you can walk around in public with your own. That's amazing.
Well, the thing is here, at least whenever I was in the Army, there were people who lived in the barracks that would go and buy guns. However, what our company would say is if you are to own a gun, only if you're living in the barracks, what they will require you to do is to check it in with the armament, and it gets stored there in the armament.
Yeah, that's actually exactly how it was where I was in Germany. If you owned a firearm, you first had to check in with the visit. It was called the visitor center for everyone else's convenience. Say, hey, I have a firearm. I'm coming onto base. I will go straight to the security forces armory and turn it in, and they will store it for me because you couldn't store firearm. It was pretty much exactly that same thing, because that's one of the things that the military has across the board. You have to meet certain qualifications to carry a firearm or possess a firearm at all on base.
Mm-hmm.
So the military has stricter requirements than the civilian population. I just find that incredible.
Well,
no, you shouldn't find it incredible. The military for the U.S. has stricter everything.
Yeah.
So I was a cop in the U.S. Air Force, right? If I would have done 1/8 of what civilian cops get away with on a daily basis, I would have been strung up by what remains of my foreskin, because let's face it, the doctor can't cut it all off, on the flagpole in front of the barracks.
Yeah, well, the thing is
like a piñata.
I would have been a piñata. They'd have given people a baseball bat to swing at me. I would have been a demonstration if I'd have done 1/8 of what civilian cops do as a cop in the Air Force.
You see, the thing is when it comes to the U.S. military, they were held to a higher standard because
of course.
The thing is we are seen as America. It doesn't matter. If you see a soldier from America, the only thing you're going to say is if they're out there being stupid, is you're going to be like, oh, so this is how America is? When you don the uniform, you are America. People have a really hard time separating the individual from the country. And so
uniform, I recognize.
Do what?
The uniform is what they identify with, not the individual.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. When it comes to the military, there is no individual. That's exactly what they beat out of you in basic training. You're not an individual anymore. In fact, individual becomes a pejorative. You want to be an individual, don't you?
Yeah.
And the correct answer is no, I don't.
And the thing is it doesn't matter what your skin color is. The only color that you are in the military is green.
Yep.
Or whatever color the branches are.
No,
I just
that
know
makes
for the Army it's green.
So for the Navy, it's blue.
Yeah. And all that makes perfect sense. I suppose my point is, though, that you've got people who are educated and trained in the use of these weapons that have more strict requirements on their ability to carry them around than what you do, the vast majority of the public who have little to no training. And that's what I find amazing.
Well, I don't know.
You shouldn't find it amazing because the military has these incredibly strict requirements that civilians just don't have to meet. That's exactly why until 2021, the actual 10-year anniversary of me leaving the Air Force, if I want a concealed carry license, at least in my state of Ohio, I don't have to go through any classes to get a concealed carry license.
Because you've been trained.
Because I've been trained.
Yeah, but what do you guys reckon in terms of all these ideas of all school shootings? Let's arm the teachers and let's more guns equals
no. Period. End of discussion. Do not arm the teachers.
Oh, exactly
Don't
right.
Don't do it. Okay. Let me justify that because versus Russ, I was more vocal. You don't arm teachers because let's face it, if we're talking about substitute teachers, we're talking about people that students are intentionally trying to break. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but at the point of my generation, we were assholes. If Mrs. Stevens came in and Mrs. Stevens is still a substitute teacher, we're trying to break her. We're trying to get her to crack. It's a game for us.
Of course, dude. That's an age-old thing. Like even when I was in elementary school or high school, any substitute teacher had a target on them, pretty much.
Yeah. And regular teachers, the people we see day in and day out for 9.5 months out of the year, eventually we're going to wear them down. And do you want someone in this high-stress environment to have a firearm?
Oh, of course not.
Really.
But even the regular teachers, I would say the same thing applies because all of a sudden you've got people, and even if you give them some basic training, all you've got is extra weapons with a large group of people and the opportunity for an enormous amount of collateral damage. And being yourself,
which is exactly where I get my argument.
Yeah.
Take actual cops, give them about double or triple the training, and station them specifically at schools.
Well, my thing is I have roughly the same conclusion, different reasoning behind it, and definitely not adding anyone else to anyone at all with guns at school. My whole entire thing behind it is I would prefer that we actually have a bigger focus on mental health, because if you actually look at the school shootings and whatnot, the ones that are doing these things are the ones who are suffering mentally in some way, shape, or form. And so
a lot of times.
So if we focus more on that and not about, oh, we should arm teachers, oh, we should have cops there, oh, we should have security, oh, we should have this, then you will actually stop the threat before it becomes a threat.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, absolutely. Let me put it this way, right? Okay, so the kind of gun safety from an ownership perspective that I advocate would necessarily exclude me from gun ownership. Let me specify. I was recently diagnosed with, and by recently I mean a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Technically,
not uncommon in ex-service members, by the way.
It's not. But
can I throw out there where Badger had to leave? He had to go to bed. Night, Badger.
Shit. Night, Badger. But considering my diagnosis, I would make the argument that I should not be allowed to own firearms. because I've had that diagnosis recently.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you see, in your case, Bob, you're trained for that, though. So you are, and just by the way you're talking tonight, you show that you are at least responsible. Sure, you might have some depression issues, but I can't see you going postal on anyone.
I'm saying in general, okay, if you've had this diagnosis within the past 5 years, you should have some kind of paper trail from a psychologist or a psychiatrist that says, yes, this person was diagnosed with X mental illness, depression, anxiety, what have you, but they are mentally competent and capable of owning a firearm.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, sure.
Okay. It makes
I'm in
perfect
exactly the
sense.
same boat. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, you know.
But my thing is, what does that have to do with school shooting type of thing?
Well,
we connected it by the mental disorder thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're talking about me having a low baseline with depression and anxiety,
I'd like to know who
how
doesn't
much more
suffer
strict
from
do you think
some
it
form
should
of that
be
today.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, how much more strict should it be for someone with bipolar? You know, someone who is,
my mom,
you know, on the scale at a greater propensity for violence towards others. You know, it should be stricter for people like that.
Yeah,
yeah. There's levels.
So there should be, if you have a diagnosis within the last 5 years, you know, or a maintained diagnosis within the last 5 years, you should also have some kind of paper trail from that same brain doctor that says they are mentally competent to privately own a firearm.
Yeah, well, that's
you know, so I'm advocating for pretty strict regulation there.
Yeah,
but the thing
people suffer.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to connect this back with the school shooting that we were talking about. The issue here is, whenever I brought up that mental health needs to be something that needs to be advocated more, I'm talking about within the children. Children aren't going out buying guns; they're taking guns that are already in the house, and they are using those.
Okay, well, there needs to. Well, okay, so I didn't realize this.
That comes back to the storage. That comes back to the storage.
But there needs to be, there needs to be more effective storage.
Yeah.
You know, you have to prove to the organization you're buying from, this firearm that you're buying from, that you have appropriate storage. Whether it's just, you know, a single handgun safe that has either a biometric lock or a combination lock that your child can access, you know.
Well, what I'm saying though too, to add to it, is that if we have people within the school system itself who can watch for early signs of these, and these things do have signs of people who may, everyone has. There's always signs of breakage.
And
well,
but let me extrapolate from where I think you're going. Teachers should be empowered to report this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that and also have people who counselors that are there that actually are there for mental health reasons, not just a school counselor who's kind of like, "Why are you acting up?" and then send them on the way right after.
Guys, I have to go. I just got a text. I have to take off. There's a family issue going on. I have to take off.
Okay. Yeah, go.
All right.
No worries, mate. Hope
Something
so.
I got to go deal with.
If we want, I can go live on my channel and we can continue the discussion from here. Or Russ, BBA, Nacha, you know, any one of us can take over because this is interesting.
Very
yeah,
good.
And I'd like to stay, but I have to take off. It's a bit of an emergency.
Yeah, go, buddy.
All the best, mate.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Refraction, for allowing me to chat with you tonight. That was great. And sorry you didn't get much of your words in edgewise here.
Yeah, the rest of us kind of hijacked the discussion.
Yeah.
But anyways, and thanks everyone for watching. As I say at the end of most of these things, or all these things, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. We'll see you guys next time.